What a Friday night if you were a Minnesota sports fan. December 12th, 2025 is going to be a day a lot of Minnesota hockey fans are not going to forget for a long time. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Mateo. And actually, bro, I know this is coming out on December 13th. It's a Saturday when I'm publishing this, but I'm actually giving you my live reaction. We're only a couple hours after the news hit that Quinn Hughes, one of the top defensemen in the NHL, is headed to the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, the news hit. I posted a short immediate reaction, and then I said, "Hey, let's film a video today. Let's breaking down it all." And that is what this is. So this is actually 3-4 hours into it, and I'm super excited. It's gonna be hopefully a good episode here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so you don't ever miss any episodes, any shorts, any breaking news. Um, I'll try to get any breaking news out to you guys via X or YouTube post. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell button on so you don't ever miss anything that I post. Because man, what a trade, what a trade! And without further ado, let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Here's the trade breakdown. Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks complete this trade here on December 12th, 2025. The Minnesota Wild obviously getting Quinn Hughes, top two defenseman in the league. If you ask me, I believe only Cale Makar is a better defenseman. But who do the Minnesota Wild give up? Well, they give up Marco Rossi, who hasn't played in what has seemed like forever. They're promising Zeev Buyam. I know I misspelled Zeev Buyam in the on the left, and now I just drew attention to that. But yeah, I'm sorry. I was super excited. I did get Ogren right, I believe. Yeah, I got Ogren right. I was so excited. I was just typing quick. It is what it is. But they get Zeev Buyam, who we will talk about in a second. They also the Canucks also get Liam Ogren, who oh my goodness, the Minnesota Wild didn't really give us much of a chance, and then they end up also throwing in a 2026 first round pick, so the Minnesota Wild's first round pick from this upcoming draft. And here, so now the Minnesota Wild will not have a first round pick in 2026 or a second round pick in 2026, as that one is with Nashville. I think they used that one to trade for Nyquist last year. But yeah, so they do not have a pick until round 3 of the 2026 draft. But as we will look through the roster, I think that's okay. But my initial thoughts, if you haven't seen my short already, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm still shocked. We might do another episode some other time in the future about this whole situation. I'll probably address it in other episodes, but when I've calmed down and actually processed it, I don't think I've processed it yet because it's a blockbuster trade. It is a blockbuster trade, and I didn't think a Minnesota team would ever make this kind of blockbuster trade. And now, there's rumors of Giannis maybe wanting to come to Minnesota. There's rumors of Joe Burrow maybe wanting to come to Minnesota, to the Vikings. And there's just so many rumors of blockbuster trades, and it's really exciting because Minnesota sports has been really disappointing, really since I've been starting following sports, and for my dad, all the years of his life, and just for fans, for decades. It's just been disappointment after disappointment. I know we got a couple World Series wins in the 90s with the Minnesota Twins, but overall it's been really disappointing. Our general managers don't tend to really make any big splashy moves, but yet Billy Guerin does that today by trading for the top two defensemen in the NHL. Quinn Hughes, my goodness, is a Minnesota Wild, and it doesn't feel real. It does not feel real when I'm just talking about this. It doesn't feel real that I'm doing a podcast episode on this, on this thing. It's absolutely crazy, that we're talking about this right now. But yeah, let's talk a little bit. We know what Quinn Hughes is. If you don't know who Quinn Hughes is, go watch some highlights. You can see he's an offensive defenseman. He will score goals for you, but he will also lock down the opposing team's best players. he can lock down McDavid. We've seen him do that. He'll lock down the guys. I mean, he locked down Kaprizov when they played each other just a couple days ago. Even I mean, the Wild were just in Vancouver. That it's absolutely crazy. Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But and I mean, the Canucks beat the Wild too. That was that. And Quinn Hughes looked great in that game. I didn't think he played that much, or if I could be wrong and he didn't play at all, but I'm pretty sure he did play. But in other matchups, he's been really noticeable against Kaprizov, locking him down. And we just know what the type of player Quinn Hughes is. But then he'll also score too. He's a very offensive defenseman, and I believe the Minnesota Wild are struggling with that. Zeev Buium was they're like one of their only offensive defensemen, but I mean they end up trading him. Dude, man, me misspelling his name. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. That's bugging me. But uh, yeah, Quinn Hughes. You know who he is, but yeah, I want to talk about who Vancouver is acquiring in this deal, and we will talk about what the future looks like for the Wild and what the future looks like for Vancouver in this episode. So hold on to your seatbelts, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And let's just dive in, even more. So the Vancouver Canucks will be getting Marco Rossi, Zeev Buium, Liam Ogren, and a first-round pick. So hypothetically, this is a 4 players for 1 player kind of swap, all young players. I believe Rossi's the oldest at like 24, 25. Let me see if I can pull this up and see something. I forgot how old he is exactly. But yeah, Rossi is 24. Ogren is 21. Booyum is 20. Um, yeah. And then they'll get another draft pick out of this. Obviously, will probably be around, depending on how well the Minnesota Wild do in the postseason. It will probably be more of like a very early second round pick rather than a first round pick. But hey, 2 first round picks is good because I believe they do hold their first round pick. Yeah, they have 2 first round picks here in 2026, and they have a second round pick. So, they own their first and they own their second, so that could be really, really, really useful. In a promising draft class, also, there's supposed to be some high end talent. So maybe, Vancouver ends up being stronger at the end of the day. We'll talk about who won this trade, but hey, let me know in the comment section down below, who won this trade in your opinion as well. I would love, to see who you guys think wins this trade. I'll obviously talk about who I think wins this trade because there are some factors, but uh, we know what Rossi is. We know who Rossi is. Marco Rossi has shown some sparks, and I do think that is probably the best player you could trade. Excuse me. It's late at night. It's late at night. That's why I'm yawning. I'm sorry. I do believe Marco Rossi probably again one of the better players you could trade for Quinn Hughes in this deal. I mean, it's shocking that they accepted it, but Marco Rossi and Quinn Hughes are making about the same amount of money, which is also kind of crazy. Uh, right now, Quinn Hughes is making almost 8 mil, and then Rossi is making, I believe, about 6 mil. Yeah, he's making 5 mil. So it already almost got you there, and then Booyum's making 1 million, and then Ogren's making 900,000. So it's like with that, it gets you perfect salary match. You don't really lose any salary if you're either team. And then obviously we'll talk about, you're gonna have to pay Quinn Hughes. He's probably gonna get paid 13, $14 million per year. We'll talk about the Wild and see, do they have enough money to do that and to keep like what they've built around them? Spoiler alert, yeah, it looks like they probably will. Obviously, they're not going to be able to keep all their dudes that they have. I mean, they do have a lot of veterans that they could probably get rid of and not really suffer very much. But and also like, will there be other trades? I feel like there could be other trades going on uh, towards the trade deadline. Maybe a Spurgeon type of trade, a Brodin type of trade. They're both in their 30s. Spurgeon's almost 40. Spurgeon's 36. He has 1 year left in his contract after this year. And then Jonas Brodin has 2 or 3 more years left. He's 32, so maybe you try to get younger at the blue line, even though those two guys are going to be really good. Bogosian in his final year of his contract. Middleton, he is 29, and you have him for 4 years, so he'll probably stay. But maybe we see another trade. Spurgeon goes somewhere else. You try to get someone young. Maybe you try to get a center for Spurgeon because your defense has now been even more improved with Quinn Hughes, or maybe you just let it ride it out, and you just uh, be content. But I do think Billy Guerin will probably make some more trades. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Marco Rossi, it was a best way. It's a young player that Vancouver was interested in, matches almost completely Quinn Hughes' salary. Obviously, throwing Z Buyam, who, you know, that's the one that stings a little bit, and I think that stings a little lot for a lot of people. I think people have mixed feelings on Rossi. You either like him or you don't like him. I was on the side that was leaning more towards I don't really like him, and I really like the way Yurov has been playing on that number one line with Kaprizov and Zuccarello rather than Rossi had played really all of last year with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see now because now you're showing that you have trust in Yurov. Obviously, you might make another trade for a center, and then Yurov would probably have to go down a line or so. But you're showing that I'm taking rid of the guy who could get rid of your spot. I know I had talked at some point when I did a wild episode. I haven't done a wild episode in forever, but I was saying when Rossi comes back, when Hartman comes back, does Yurov remain on the number one line? Or does he go back down to the third or fourth line? And this shows you that they have confidence in him. And I think this is perfect for him as well. But yeah, Rossi, hey, best of luck to you. You're going to do well. You're going to do well. Vancouver, despite their record, their record right now, they're 11, 17, and 3. That's not a terrible record. They have 25 points. They do have the worst points, the least amount of points in the NHL. But I feel like next year, dude, they're gonna be so good. I feel like they're gonna be for sure a wild card team next year. And we will talk about that when we talk about their future in just a second. But yeah, then Zibulium, it stinks. It stings. I thought he was gonna be him and Faber. I thought they were gonna be our franchise. Defenseman. One more offensively minded in Buyam, one more defensively minded in Faber. Both are extremely talented, but now maybe you have a new offensive defenseman that could be the future of your blue line, and that is going to be Quinn Hughes if you can extend him in the upcoming years. But yeah, it stings a little bit, but at least Zeev wasn't here that long that we didn't get connected to him as much. And I wish him the best of luck as well. And then finally, Liam Ogren. I just don't feel like he had the chance. I don't think he had the chance here with our lineup. I feel like he's going to do so well in Vancouver as well. I feel like Vancouver is the perfect spot for these young guys because it mixes a little bit of a couple veterans with Besser and Pedersen and Demko, and then you put these younger guys who have tons of potential on this team. It just flows really well. They're going to get 2 more first-round picks this year. So 2 more young guys who maybe could step in, and then a second-round pick that is probably going to be close to the first round. So you could hypothetically have 3 first-round picks this season if the Canucks continue to do as bad as they've been doing. But it's going to be really interesting to see how all these players. I'm going to be for sure monitoring them to see how well they do. Maybe with some power ranking episodes we do every month. Maybe we check in on how Rossi's doing and how Buyam's doing, how Ogren's doing. I think Vancouver is a very interesting story, and they're a pretty likable team. I don't really dislike them at all. They're likable. I just and we always seem to beat them, except this recent game. But we always seem to beat them. We tend to usually have had good games with them as well. So yeah, I'm really intrigued with this from both sides too, not just the Wild side where I think the Wild get extremely better, extremely much better. I'm really excited to see how the Canucks change and continue this. I wouldn't say rebuild, but kind of gap year, and then just maybe building up for maybe a playoff run next season. So that's kind of a trade breakdown, a little bit of who had to give up, who each team gave up, what each team received, and then what we're gonna do here for the remaining time of this episode, we're gonna look at the Wild now, the Wild's lineup and stuff, and then we're also gonna look at the Canucks lineup and see, what both of these teams' expectations could be, what could they do from now on, and like I have it titled "Now What Wild." So for me, I have three things here for the Wild. Hughes debuts on Sunday, excuse me. So Saturday, this is either going to be coming out. Yeah, it's going to be coming out Saturday, December 13th. He will not be debuting in that game against the Ottawa Senators, as Michael Russo reports. Sorry that screenshot is all fuzzy. I was having troubles with that. But he will debut against the Boston Bruins on Sunday, and I believe that is at home as well. So it's a back-to-back. He will not play the first game of the back-to-back, as he is still in New Jersey as the time I'm recording this video, but he will debut December 14th, Sunday, against the Boston Bruins in a matinee, I believe, against the Boston Bruins. So, hey, that should be very, very, very exciting. I'm going to be watching that game, and I just realized when I took that screenshot, there were 67 comments on that post. Hilarious. But yeah, so the first thing, Hughes debuts on Sunday. We have to just wait. We have to wait and see. We can guess what's going to happen. We obviously it probably will take. I don't think it's going to take that long for him to adjust, but it might take a game or two for him to adjust to the play style of the Minnesota Wild. But he is a top two defenseman in the NHL, so I believe he will adapt well and pretty easily. He's probably watching film already. He's probably talking with Hines. He's probably talking with Spurgeon. Those are kind of he's probably talked with Guerin tons. Maybe even trying to talk with Kaprizov a little bit, I believe. Or maybe Boldy, since Boldy and him knew each other from the Four Nations and will play with each other at the Olympics most likely. But yeah, he's just going to try to build that team chemistry and, step in where this team needs him. And I'm just excited to see him on Sunday, December 14th, 2025. The second thing is, do they have, this money to extend him? And it's a very good question. And then the third thing is Stanley Cup or bust. Basically, we're just going to take a look and what else, are we set? Am I content with the team that the Minnesota Wild have? Or do we need to make some more changes? And let's just talk about those two things. Do we have the money to extend them? And then is it like Stanley Cup or bust in a way? So I'm going to open up. We're going to use this website. I've used it before for sure. If you don't know, it's PuckGM. Puckpedia.com. Here it is. So basically, here is a salary cap, projection table. So here is the current day season, the 2025-2026 season. You can see now we really have no salary cap, any cap space. We do have some, we've hit the dead cap and stuff, but we, you could for sure trade away players to make salary cap work, to make salary room if you were to make another trade. But the first thing I was saying is, do we have the money to extend them? He's most likely going to get about $15 million. That's my prediction. $15 million a year. And right now you can see in 2026, 27, you have a projected cap space of $13 million, which means, yes, you would probably have to restructure deals or maybe, release a little bit more of the players that you want to. And you can see that 62,000, 50,000 in the next 2 years, and the salary cap will go up. I'm pretty sure, as you see right here, it goes from 95 to 104, and then it goes from 104 to 113. And then in 2 years. So the salary cap will continue to go up. So that will help the Wild. But right now, you don't really have any money. You don't even have money for a minimum contract, which is $750,000. But you can see that this is where the free agent money is coming from. Zuccarello and Tarasenko both have 1 year left on their deals. I believe Vladimir was a 1 year deal, and then Zuccarello is just the end of his long contract. Excuse me. So there's about 9 million. So that's almost half of the cap space that you'll have, and then you'll get rid of an under $1 million contract with Johansson, and then a bunch of Hinostroza, Bu Kabul, Ben Jones, etc. I don't see any of these guys coming back. Johansson maybe could come back if you could get him for $1 million or so. Again, but I don't know if you're because he's been playing good. Who knows though? Really, who knows? I do think Tarasenko will not. He's been a disappointment. You could even maybe see him getting traded, back to St. Louis just to finish out his career there or something. I think he'll probably retire eventually, or maybe just try to get on another team. I don't see the Minnesota Wild, you know, keeping him around. So, and then kind of same with Zuccarello. I think Zuccarello is so old that maybe if he feels good, maybe offer him a 1 more year. But I think at this moment we're gonna try to keep Kirill, try to keep Ek because Ek is like under contract for the next at least 3 years, maybe 4 and 5. So he'll be here for a while, and he's making what? He's making nothing. He's making $5 million. That's so cheap for a very good player, a very talented player in Jewel Eriksson Ek. Obviously, you want to keep Boldy and Kaprizov. You could probably restructure Boldy's deal a little bit so it goes a little bit more backloaded if you wanted to. Um, but yeah, I mean, Trenning is going to be here for the next couple of years. I don't see them moving on from him. Sturm will probably be on here. I think that's a good deal. 2-3 years of them. Urov is going to be here making almost league minimum. But yeah, so 13 million, and then obviously Bogosian. I think Bogosian he will not re-sign, especially just with this amount of defensemen we have in our system. Here, if you see non-roster players, uh, who's the? I mean, here, sorry, Lambos and Spacek. Those two have really big potential. I've heard a lot of good things about them. I think Lambos probably could come up next season. So in a world next season, if you don't trade Spurgeon or Brodin, you'd have Faber, Hughes, Spurgeon, Brodin, Middleton, and most likely Lambos. You could maybe have Juracek. You could maybe have Bogosian. No, not Bogosian. You could maybe have Hunt if you wanted to get him for another league minimum type of deal. But yeah, Bogosian, you lose that money. I think you're going to need that because then you're going to want to extend Quinn Hughes for the 27-28 season. And I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, Spurgeon's going to be a free agent, so you could use half of that money for Spurgeon could be to extend Hughes. So that's why I keep saying, you know, could they trade Jared Spurgeon for somebody a little bit younger, maybe just to get that money to you know, maybe even in the off season, trade Jared Spurgeon. You don't know, health wise, he'll be 37, I think, in the off season. So maybe you trade him to a contending team who just needs some good veteran defense. A team like, I don't know who exactly, maybe in Montreal, who's very young on the defensive core. So, and Jared Spurgeon is Canadian. A team like maybe, just to get, excuse me, maybe a young forward or a young defenseman and save some salary. You see, that's about 7 million here in 2026, 2027. That would give you probably 25-ish million. So then you could extend Hughes for that 15 and still have 10 over. Maybe then offer Zuccarello a $3 million deal. Maybe offer Johansson a 1 year $1 million deal. I do think a Jared Spurgeon trade, maybe not necessarily at the trade deadline, maybe in the offseason could be something you want. Or maybe you try to trade Jonas Brodin at the trade deadline if there is a team wanting a good defenseman and they would be willing to give you a cheap price. So again, that you could extend Quinn Hughes because I mean you save $6 million then there. In 2027, 2028. I mean, if you were to wait all the way till about the start of the 27-28 season to extend, the man in Quinn Hughes. You could wait till one of the last minutes to trade away, Jonas Brodin or Jared Spurgeon. I don't know. But you have tons of money. Hartman could be a free agent there. I could see them trading him, but I know they like him. I like Hartman too. I think if anything, if you were to trade somebody, it would be either Spurgeon or Burdine just because they're making tons of money. And I think you could get a cheap return that would still help you in the long run. Also, another thing is, do you trade Philip Gustafson? Like after this season, I think, his new contract will start kicking in that you gave him. Do you say that 7 million, could be added to the Quinn Hughes, you know, extension? Because this is all we're kind of talking about because you want to extend him. Because I believe if you do not extend Quinn Hughes, you overpaid. I think you should have kept Zebuyum then, and maybe it could have been just Rossi and Ogren in a first round pick. If you cannot extend Hughes, if you extend Hughes, you have him probably for all his prime, unless you trade him again, which I doubt it. So if you're comfortable with Wallstead after one season, you trade away Gustafson for maybe a defenseman and a forward, and then you could maybe even release Spurgeon. I don't think they would. I think they would probably find a partner for Spurgeon. Maybe you'd package Spurgeon and Gustafson so you get a better return and then a cheaper return. And maybe that could help you. That would probably give you about about 13 million, which then with the salary, we still have cap space. You can keep guys like Johansson. You can keep guys like Zuccarello if you want to keep Zuccarello around. You can then eventually, offer those extensions to other players that you will need. You'll have to pay Wallstead eventually, also in 27-28. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. That's just kind of my thoughts here as, I'm taking this all in on the, can we afford, do we have the money to extend Quinn Hughes? We definitely have the money, and I'm pretty sure we could get this done. And especially if I think an extension could come either in the next couple of weeks or in the summer. We'll still have him for next season. So, you know, we could even have an extension come around this time next season too, and it would be fine. It's just probably it's gonna take time for Quinn Hughes to say, can we actually win here? Does he like it here? Maybe he could have bad chemistry and request a trade. But I'm saying I think Quinn Hughes is gonna be a long term defenseman on this team. Him and Faber are kind of going to be the faces of this defensive core now. We had Brodin and Spurgeon for so long. Brodin, the offensive defenseman, Spurgeon, the defensive defenseman. I do believe Faber will become captain eventually once Spurgeon leaves. And, we're just going to have these two defensemen again for the next couple of years. I mean, Brodin and Spurgeon have been here forever. They're in their 30s now. It's really going to be fun to see what happens. But, yeah. The last thing I had on like the slide that I just showed you. Sorry, it always does that for some reason when I switch back to the the slideshow, the PDF. It's Stanley Cup or bust, and that really I'm gonna stay on the same website, but I'm going to a different page. Excuse me. There we go. Here's Draft Capital. If you guys, this is where I was getting. Vancouver now has our first in 26, but yeah, we don't have our second as well, but we still have our first round pick in 2027, our first round pick in 28, first round pick in 29. We have all our picks in 28 and all of picks in 29. We haven't really traded a lot of our picks, which is very interesting. We also hold San Jose's fifth round pick in 26, so we, we still have picks that we can get guys for our farm system or maybe use them as trade trips to say they're so close a team is so close in getting Jared Spurgeon. They say, oh, give me a fifth round pick. We throw in the San Jose Sharks fifth round pick, and there you go. You get it done. Bill Guerin's been really smart about his picks, and I really like the picks that we have right now. But is this team good enough to win? So this is the active kind of lineup with all the injuries. Technically, Quinn Hughes will not be playing right now. So I don't even know if Brody's technically going to play December 13th, but most likely, it would probably be something like this because, you got people injured. I think Matt will be playing. That's the rumors, at least, that Matt will play. But, I don't really care about injuries right now. I just want to show you this right now, like, because this lineup, when healthy, like Middleton's going to be healthy eventually. I know he's on injured reserve, but when I'm just showing you when healthy, this lineup is going to be legit insane. Kabul can go back down here. So can he's gonna end up going back down here to defend. Like, look, like we have a lot of we beat the Stars with a lot of Iowa Wild players in, and why I don't know. Yeah, and now we just get better, and we're gonna get all our players back too. Eventually, it's gonna be so good. Juracek can stay here for now, but like when Zuccarello comes back, like where does he fit into this lineup? Well, Tarasenko probably goes down here to the third line. Zuccarello plays with Kaprizov and Urov. Then you have Johansson, Ek, Boldy. I really like that line. You got Trenin, Hartman, Tarasenko, and then Foligno's been out for a long time. So Foligno, when he comes back, he probably takes Ben Jones's spot. Ben Jones can then go back down to Iowa. Ba-da-bum. Yep. Sorry, I'm just messing around here because it's hard. Tyler Pitlick, he can go down to Iowa because, I think when Hinostroza comes back as well, like we'll have people in the press box in case of emergencies, but I want to just give you a taste of like what these lineups could look like. Sturm I even could see on the third line, but yeah, Kaprizov, Urov, and Zuccarello on the first line. You got Johansson, Eriksson, Boldy on the second line, Trenin, Hartman, Tarasenko, or I could say, Sturm ends up playing here center. Hartman goes onto the wing, and then I guess we just don't have a center on this line. Hypothetically, you could have, like I don't know, Ben Jones come back and play center or something like that. But I do think Sturm is a good fourth line center, and he'll go when you need a draw. He'll be the guy taking the faceoffs. But yeah, Tarasenko's kind of been a bust, but hey, you never know what might happen. He might get a hot streak. Foligno, Sturm, Hinostroza. That seems like a typical third line on a normal team, but our depth is insane. I love it. Give me your thoughts on the offense, but I think this offense is low key good. Obviously, I could see where we need another center. If you want another center, just for that depth, if you want another scorer for this, if you want it, great. If we can get it, great. I'll take it. But I like this offense a lot. And then just look at this defense when healthy. Hughes, Faber, Brodeen, Spurgeon, Middleton, Bogosian. Are you kidding me? Middleton's been playing on our number one pairing with Faber. He would slide down to 3 just because we're so darn good. But Gojin's still pretty darn good, even though he is 35 years old. Um, my goodness. And then you got our goalie tandem of Gustafson, Wallstead. Who's stopping this team? I know there could be teams that could stop this team. Colorado, Dallas, even on a good day. But those two are really the only two teams that I think could stop us in a 7-game series. I think, would we lose to some other teams a couple games? Yes. I think right now, though, I mean, if Quinn Hughes is Quinn Hughes and continues to play like this, and the Wild continue to play like this, Kaprizov, Boldy continue to click, this team on paper is a really darn good team if they continue playing. If the goalies keep playing how they've been playing, if the defense keeps playing how they've been playing, I mean, this team on paper, I think that was the perfect move. And like you even think about it, you got rid of Bouillon, Rossi, and Ogren, and this lineup is still good. It doesn't even look like we took much out of the lineup. It looks so darn good. And so in my question here, Stanley Cup or bust, I don't think it's Stanley Cup or bust. And we have enough that I think we can make a deep playoff run and then maybe use the strong free agency class or not. I don't think we would use the strong free agency class because we need that money to re-sign, and give that extension up to Quinn Hughes. I think that's the most important thing now heading into the offseason and figuring out if you want to continue the Gustafson-Wallstead duo or just pick one of them and trade the other guy away. That's kind of what my thoughts are on uh, the Minnesota Wild. So before we wrap up today's show, I will talk a little bit about the Vancouver Canucks. So I say, now what, Vancouver Canucks? Now what, Canucks? Is this going to be a rebuild or just a gap year? And as I kind of mentioned it already, it's going to be a gap year. And the main thing is this team is talented. And the free agency class is indeed loaded. So here is I'm gonna use the same, website here, but this time for the Vancouver Canucks. They now have our first round pick and their first round pick in this year's draft and their second round pick. That's all. They're gonna probably finish towards the bottom of the league, which means that second round pick is gonna be very close to the first round. So you basically have 3 first round picks, more or less, if you think it that way. I mean, that's just kind of how I view it. It's like a really late first round pick in that second round. But you have really good chances to add on to your squad. But then also, this team is not that bad. You have Betzer for the next 7 years making only $7 million. Now you say, well, where's Pedersen? Well, he's hurt right now, and this is Elias Pedersen. Yeah, well, it's the same name. This is the rookie defenseman. This is the guy you're thinking about. This is their center, and let me just show you here. So Pedersen would be this first line guy when healthy, and I just want to show you. This is like for next season. Like they're not going to do much, next season. I mean, this season, excuse me, because obviously I just don't think their injuries haven't been great to them at all. But it's just that's just it's just facts. They're not going to do well this season. I'm saying for next season. David Kempf though is still good, and I would say he can be that fourth line center. Either obviously he's in an expiring deal. Is Drew O'Connor? Oh, Drew O'Connor. Never mind. Drew O'Connor is in 2 years. I'm gonna try to limit the like the expiring deals, just because like I know Evander Kane, like I could see them re-signing Evander Kane and like Sherwood too. They have a lot of expiring deals. But here, let's get Rossi in here. So Rossi will probably be your number 2 center. Here, I just want to do this, and then just so that we can keep all our players here instead of going all the way down to injured reserve. So I think Ogren will be a third line guy. I really do think that. Jake DeBrusk is, 29. Never mind. Maybe we put him on the right wing here with, yeah, no, I like that. And then Carlson can go on that side, or he can play center. He can play center. Drew O'Connor can play on the left side. Holander. Dude, they have a lot of great guys. So, Sherwood for sure could get re-signed, but I'm just going to say, like, hypothetically, if he doesn't get re-signed, that would be why Nils would be up there. And then, obviously, Kane would either have a replacement or would be there. But that whole first... Oh, Garland is going to be a free agent as well. That's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. And then, I mean, Lucas Raquel, they have a lot of young guys. He's also a expiring contract, and they, like, have Phillip, who's a center in an expiring deal. I mean, yeah, you could probably. I mean, you have. I'm see. I mean, see what I mean though. They have so many options for this offense, where even if they get rid of all these, here, cap projections, they're projected to have like 20 million because of how many free agents they're gonna have. But like, see, Kane is a free agent, Bluger, Sherwood, Raquel, Kempf. All those guys are going to be free agents. And then, actually, their blue line is pretty solid, and so are their goalies. Their goalies are all signed. But also here, when you look at their defense, Zeev Bouillon, Phillip, those are going to probably be your 2 main guys, for the next couple of years on the blue line. And then you got Elias Pettersson, Marcus Pettersson, Tyler Myers. It's a very young group besides Tyler Myers. And I really like this. I really do like this defensive group. Teddy Bluger is on the injured list right now, but he for sure could come up. And then when you look at their AHL lineup, there's a lot of fun guys here too. A lot of 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds. I really like the Vancouver Canucks. I'm saying they're going to be very promising, especially, Z Bouillon now going to be the face of that defense. Rossi's going to have fun in Vancouver, and I'm just really excited to see what this team does. But finally, before we wrap up today's episode, I did want to say free agency is loaded, and they will have money. They will have money. Tommy Panarin, obviously, people could indeed, people could, you know, re-sign him. Panarin could re-sign with the Rangers. I doubt that's going to happen, but Ovechkin could probably re-sign with the Washington Capitals. Cale Makar will probably re-sign with the Colorado Avalanche, but you never know. You never know. Like Jason Robertson, he might be on the. He's a restricted free agent. Okay. Jason Robertson could end up on the market. Anze Kopitar, actually, he's going to retire. Zegers could end up on the market. Again, Evander Kane, they could bring him back. We talked about, Tarasenko, Anderson, Ramison Anderson, Nick Foligno. Connor Bedard is technically going to be a free agent. Obviously, he'll probably be re-signed by the Chicago Blackhawks. Mrazek, if you wanted another defense, Matt Zuccarello. Dumba is going to be a free agent. Jenner is going to be a free agent. Susi is going to be a free agent. Fantelli is going to be a free agent. Skinner's a free agent. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Claude Giroux. I could just keep on saying Brandon Duhaime, Tomasino, Delorier, Benson, Jonathan Quick, Sundquist, Irison. There's so many names that with a team like the Vancouver Canucks who maybe get one guy, but one guy could do so much for this team. And I'm saying, hey, be aware. Be aware of the Vancouver Canucks because, hey, I do think, you know, this was now, yes, a trade that helps the Minnesota Wild, but overall, I do think it's a very fair trade. It's a very fair trade. I think if Quinn Hughes does sign that contract extension with the Minnesota Wild, probably I'll lead towards the Minnesota Wild winning the trade, but still, it's still an exciting time, and I'm super excited. I got this done before midnight. I got this done, even before 11 o'clock at night here on December 12th. I will try to get this published as soon as possible, probably premiering around 9 a.m. or something like that on December 13th. But why am I saying that? Because you're gonna be watching it then. But I'm just trying to let you know, hey, chill. I'm doing my best I could. But yeah, are the Minnesota Wild Stanley Cup contenders now? I believe they are. I do believe they are. I think they're gonna make a good push. But here, one more thing before we wrap it up. Here's the Central Division. The Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars, sure, we beat them both. We did beat them both. But they're all going crazy. The Avalanche are stupid. 22-2-7. Stars are 21-6-5. Yeah, we're 17-9-5, but it's still, they're all going kind of stupid. And yeah, it is what it is. We might not even have home ice advantage. That's the annoying thing about it. In a way, I kind of just want the Blackhawks to become better than us just so we can go on the road and face somebody in the Pacific, Vegas or Anaheim, who I'm not really scared of, and we would have an easier bracket than just to face the Pacific Division rather than face the Central Division. But it is what it is, and it's going to be an exciting rest of the season. Hopefully we get some more trades. And maybe some Timberwolves trades, maybe Vikings trades in the offseason. Twins, maybe the cheap pullouts will make a stupid trade. I don't know. But, trades are so fun. But, yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode of Inside the Zone with Mateo. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Next week, yes, we got an episode coming out. I have episodes Tuesday and Thursday. Those are almost for surely every Thursday during the NFL season is my NFL, episode where I do my power rankings, my picks, what I learned from that week. Uh, go ahead and check those out after this if you have time. And Tuesdays are kind of more open. I either, react to some trending topics, or if there's an interesting topic to get into, maybe another wild trade, or maybe we break down Hughes' debut if he goes crazy or something, or maybe there's a Timberwolves trade that we get to. Tuesdays are kind of open for that, just kind of whatever I feel like doing it. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. I'll try to post some more shorts. I'll try to post some more 2K rebuilds this weekend. But yeah, that's going to do it. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn the notification bell button on so you never ever miss an episode. And yeah, don't forget to keep God first because He is the most important thing in your lives. Yeah, just have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.